Good day, students. Uh, I'm happy to deliver this first lecture, which is Module 1 in the second semester of 2023-2024 academic session. The title of the lecture today is the concept of communication. When we talk about communication, you are walking into the realm of an academic pursuit, and you are gradually going to see the criticality of communication in every facet of our lives as human beings. More importantly, you should understand that communication is more than just speech productions or writing exercises. Communication is an art and science. Why? Communication is an art and science in the sense that the transmission and interpretation of intended messages shape interpersonal relationships, enhance knowledge production and retention, consolidate skill acquisition, promote business profiles, drive innovations, and influence public policies and decisions, among others. Whatever your area of specialization, sciences, technology, engineering, and management studies, mastering communication would serve a rewarding purpose for you as you embark on this academic journey. You are therefore required to study this module and engage in more activities and read relevant materials that you may lay your hands on. This module is divided into 13 weeks. At the end of this course, there will be a final assessment, and there will be a gradual assessment, or what I call periodic assessment, also known as the assignment and the final examination. The module is divided into study sessions. So this study session today is titled The Concept of Communication. And this concept of communication will guide you through the meaning of what, why, and how we communicate in every facet of our lives. The learning outcome at the end of this session, you should be able to, one, define the concept of communication wherever and whenever. Two, you should be able to explain the features of communication. Then three, you should be able to analyze the process of communication. And lastly, you should also be able to discuss the purposes of communication. To begin with, what is communication? Most of us often have this idea that communication is just when we're able to interact or transmit messages to a receiver. I want you to know that the word communication is not just about talking. Communication can be defined as the transmission and exchange of a message from a sender to a receiver through an appropriate channel, whether verbal, non-verbal, or digital outlets, in a mutually understandable manner. So every communication encounter involves at least a sender, a message, a receiver. This may sound so simple, but communication is actually a very complex subject, deeper than this definition. This definition is just for your level as ND1 student. By the time you advance further, you will come across more complex and intricate kind of definitions that will expose you to more about the meaning of communication. Since communication involves a two-way process, there is always the sender on the right-hand side and the receiver on the left-hand side. The transmission and exchange of this message from a sender or a group of recipients can be affected by a huge range of things. This includes your emotions, cultural situations, the channel adopted to communicate, even the prevailing location in which the communication is taking place. The complexity is why good communication skills are so desirable by hiring managers and professionals around the world. So to become a skilled communicator is hard, but it is possible. Let's go to the next point, features of communication. When we talk about features of communication, another word for feature is characteristics. The features of communication include: one, there must be at least a sender and a receiver. In every communicative situation, there must be a sender whose duty is to share or transmit a message to an intended receiver. This is the minimum requirement for communication to take place. Then number two, it is also a continuous process. Every communication event is a continuous process in the sense that whether you are asleep or awake, you are passing a message. Whether you are sitting down, you are walking, you are passing a message. Even the way you dress communicates a message. So everything we do on a regular basis revolves around communication. It is difficult or impossible to think of any social activities or human behavior in which communication is completely absent. Number three, there must be mutual understanding. Yes, every message transmitted by a sender has an underlying intention, whether clearly spelled out, explicit or implicit. So mutual understanding means that the recipient must have a grasp of the sender's intention. Note that the lack of understanding is a major barrier to effective communication. When you pass a message to a reader, it is expected that the reader should have an understanding of the message. Number four, it can also be done physically or remotely. Communication is not stagnant and regimented. It can take place with the participant physically present. For example, when you receive your lectures physically in the classroom, I'm talking about the regular full-time and part-time students. So this is also known as face-to-face communication. Similarly, communication can also take place remotely, that is across a distant space. In today's world of technological advancements, communication happens across distant cities, countries, and continents. What I'm doing now is I'm communicating with my students across different spaces, even though I'm not physically present with them. They have access to this video and the lecture is being delivered. So some technological tools used to communicate remotely include television, radio transistors, mobile phones, online communication platforms such as Zoom, Skype, TikTok, Google Classroom, WhatsApp, Telegram, Twitter, Messenger, and the rest of them. This emphasizes the fact that one of the good features of communication is that it is not limited by space. It can take place physically or remotely. Number five, it can also be verbally or non-verbally. Communication does not just manifest through verbal means only. When we talk about verbal communication, we are talking about reading and writing only. It also takes place non-verbally. For example, the ringing of a bell at school communicates what? Break time or closing time. The blaring of a siren on a highway communicates what? Emergency. The raising of a red card by a referee during an ongoing football match communicates the immediate eviction of a player from the pitch. Knocking consistently at a door communicates attention is needed, and so on. So we can communicate by speaking, by writing. We can also communicate non-verbally. Now, let me go to the next one, which is the process of communication. The process of communication is 5. As you can see on the LMS, we have the sender, the encoder, we have the sender who is also known as the encoder, we have the message, which is the information that is being transmitted. We have the channel. The channel is the means through which the lecture is being delivered or through which the message is being delivered. And we have a target receiver who is waiting at the other end to receive the message. And the last but not the least is the decoding process. It is the duty of the reader to decode what the sender has sent. So just as we have the sender encoding the message, we also have the receiver decoding the message. So a message is sent by the sender through a communication channel to a receiver or to multiple receivers. So the sender can be an individual, can be a group of persons, for example, an agency or an institution. Okay, so and the receiver also even the sender can also be an animal. We have a situation whereby your pet at home communicates a message to you. Okay, we have object that can also serve as a sender of a message. By the time you switch on your laptop or your phone and it tells you please wait or loading, you have to obey. So all of these indicate that the sender in the communication event is not limited to humans. Non-humans can also pass messages, and these messages can come in form of what? Information, can also come in form of opinions, whatever you just have in mind to pass across to the sender. Then last but not the third one is the channel. The channel is the selected medium by the sender through which the communication can take place or can be transmitted either way. So it is therefore the means of transmitting a message from a sender to a receiver. Once there is a starting point, there must be an end point. In between the starting point and end point, there is also a gap or a pipe through which what you are transmitting gets to who you are sending it to. So there are multiple communications channels available to us in today's world. It can be face-to-face conversations, yes. It can be telephone calls. It can be text messages. You can choose to send electronic mails. You can use the internet, other social media platforms. You can transmit your message to a large audience through radio or television. You can also use correspondence. Correspondence means a piece of writing. So choosing an appropriate communication is vital for every communication event. Why? Because each communication channel has different strengths and weaknesses. For example, broadcasting news of an upcoming event through electronic platforms convey the message clearly to a large number of people. Once your target audience is a large group of people or the public, you cannot just use a phone call. How many people will you call? You have to go through the broadcast through a media house. So it's different from when you are talking to someone and when you are transmitting the message to an individual. Then the next one is the encoding of a message. This is the job of the sender. Yes, it's the duty of the sender to encode a message through the appropriate channel. We all do this every day when we transfer our thoughts or our feelings into spoken words or written forms. Other communication channels require different forms of encoding. Sometimes you could text someone. Sometimes you could feel like seeing the person face to face. You call someone on the phone and say, please, I would like to see you today when you are around or when you are in school. Especially when you know that sending a message, maybe the person will not read it or the person will not will not interpret the message properly. So when you are encoding the message, a lot of things come to mind. So effective communicators understand this encoding process and how crucial it is to the delivery of their message, so they don't play with it. So they also anticipate and eliminate likely causes of confusion and misunderstanding. As I said earlier on, sometimes someone call you, please see me in my office now. A lecturer can call you, see me in my office now. Or a friend can call you, where are you? Oh, I'm at the cafeteria. Please leave whatever you are doing at the cafeteria and meet me in the class now. Or meet me at the junction. Okay, so it is the duty of the sender to decide to decide what the encoding process will be, because the sender tries to anticipate or eliminate anything that will lead to misunderstanding or that will cause confusion on the part of the receiver. So likewise, the decoding process. Once a message is received, the recipient needs to decode the message. So successful decoding a message is a vital communication skill. Can you imagine asking someone, please, you are meeting the person for the very first time on campus, maybe doing your registration, year one, and you're asking the person, what's your name? And maybe the person you are in line, you're about to do something together, or you are in a group together, and you're asking the person, and the person says, you see, the problem with this country is that we don't have good leaders. And you are wondering, what has that got to do with the question I just asked you? I ask you, what's your name? Second time. And the person says, if we had good leaders, this nation would have been better than it is. I'm sure you want to look at the person again to be sure that you are talking to a normal person. Why? Because the decoding process must is completely at variance with your question. So this slightly depends on the experience and understanding of the context of the message too. how well the receiver understand or know the sender and their psychological state and how they feel and the time and place of receiving. Another point under the process of communication is feedback. This is the feedback from the receiver is crucial for it. Is crucial for it determines whether the message is clearly understood. Recipients of messages are likely to provide feedback on how they have understood the message through both verbal and non-verbal means. Sometimes the receiver may not send may not reply, may not send the feedback verbally. The sender may send a reply non-verbally. You can imagine telling somebody, Sheun, please, I want to see you now, and Sheun does like this. So it can take place. So the feedback also reveals any misunderstanding or confusion to the sender as soon as possible. So know that the feedback can be immediate or delayed depending on the communication situation. Some people, when you send a message to them, they will not reply until about a week or until you send a reminder. Because by the time you look at the situation, the prevailing communicative situation in our country today, a lot of people are busy doing so many things that were not used to before. Many people are doing 3-4 jobs just to survive. Why? Because the pressure on the family pressure, the social pressure, the political issues, most things are just coming up that if care is not taken, people will not give appropriate attention to your message or immediate attention to your message until you send a reminder or a feedback. I don't know how many times this has happened to some of us. So with your feedback, it allows you to know that, okay, this person has received my message and the person clearly understood has clearly understood the message. Know that the extent and form of feedback varies with communication channel. Feedback during a face-to-face telephone conversation is often immediate and direct, but feedback to messages conveyed remotely via TV, radio is indirect and will be delayed or even conveyed through other media such as the internet. Now, what are the purposes of communication? The next point I want to talk about is the purposes of communication. Why do we even communicate at all? The major reasons humans communicate are: number one, we communicate to persuade people. It means that we want to do something and this desire is often communicated. We want to achieve something and this desire is often communicated. We desire to achieve something and this desire is often expressed. So, for example, the mother patting the child to stop crying has an intention in mind. The advertiser displaying a model in a new t-shirt and a politician arguing the electorate to vote for him are all having the same objective of what? Persuasion. Number two, we communicate in order to give or provide information. The science teachers demonstrating an experiment in the classroom, the bank announcing a reduction in interest rates, and the finance minister presenting the budget are all communicating to provide information. We also communicate to seek information. Yes, you can communicate to seek information. So a passerby, you can ask someone to the way to the post office. Excuse me, please, can you show me the way to the back gate? Excuse me, please, can you please show me the way to the school library? We can communicate to seek information. We can also communicate to express our emotions. We can communicate to express our fear, our excitement, our joy, our satisfaction, our disappointment with appropriate gestures and words. Some people have unlimited skill to emote, that is to display excessive emotions, while some people have ability to control their emotions depending on the occasion. So our politicians are capable of emoting well, which is a good communication skill for them. Then we also communicate because we are humans. Yes, we also communicate because we are humans. God, in His infinite wisdom, has made it possible for us to communicate with one another, because the benefits of effective communication are so many and obvious that they enhance all aspects of our personal and professional lives. Ineffective and misunderstood communication in our personal life may cause issues or problems or more embarrassment, but in our professional lives, the results of misunderstanding are much more serious consequences. So we must understand that communication is part of our DNA as humans. In conclusion, in this self-study session, I have discussed the features, the process, and the purposes of communication among humans. We have also learned that the most important purpose of communication is that it serves as a vehicle through which we pass and receive messages. Now, I'm going to give you self-assessment questions before I close. Now, outline the features. 1. Outline the features of communication. 2. Explain the process of communication. 3. Human beings communicate with a purpose in mind. Outline and discuss these purposes. I take the self-assessment questions again. 1. Outline the features of communication. 2. Explain the process of communication. And 3. Human beings communicate with a purpose in mind. Outline and discuss these purposes. Thank you very much. Whatever questions you have, let me know on the platform.